Ngā mihi mahana e ho mā. Warm greetings, friends. Welcome again to this reflection on the Gospel passage for Wednesday. This week it comes from Luke chapter 12, verses 35 to 48. Back when we could still travel, I was on a family holiday in Kenya, researching some family history. And as we drove back from Uganda one day, we passed through a village and we saw a marker post ahead for the equator not far away. Of course, we needed to stop for a family photograph by the sign, and our driver obliged us and took a photo. As we approached the sign, a local who was drunk approached us, wanting some money. In a hurry to keep moving on our journey and unprepared with no money or coins in my pocket, I turned away from this man as he bombed our photo. It was an awkward moment, and we were all embarrassed by the situation, including the man. On getting back in the van to continue our journey, our daughter got stuck into me about how rude I had been to this man, and by not giving him even a few coins. "What sort of priest are you, Dad? That was Jesus there, Dad, and you ignored him." Of course, she was right. In our story today, Jesus is preparing his followers for what some seem to interpret these days as his second coming and the end of the world. Scholars, though, seem to think that Jesus and Luke have the people of Israel in mind, that they are not prepared for their Messiah to show up and return to the temple, as the Old Testament scriptures had foretold. This text has a very imminent quality about it. It is something they need to be ready for that could happen at any time, even in their lifetime soon. It also looks forward to chapter 19, when Jesus actually does return to the city and the temple on that donkey. As we read this text today, it has a very imminent quality as well for us. When will our Master Jesus show up? I've known for a long time that Jesus said we were always going to meet him in the prisoner, the hungry, or the homeless. And I've always enjoyed the quote by Mother Teresa of Calcutta when she said, "We often meet Jesus in the most distressing of disguises." So how was I so unprepared that day at the equator, in that marginal in-between space that was neither the north or the south? I've reflected lots on that moment this year, and I still see Jesus, or our friend who was Jesus, in the photograph that we took, who I did not recognise at the time. There is a sober warning from Jesus at the end of today's text about much being expected from those who have had much given to them. As members of God's squad, we have nailed our colours to the mast and been set apart to live in the way of Jesus. It seems we can get caught out, as I was unprepared and unready on that day. Much is expected of us, friends. So may we be ready for Jesus when he shows up unexpectedly. What are the habits and the attitudes that we need to cultivate in our lives so that we are ready for Jesus, our Master, to return and surprise us? After that moment at the equator, I made sure I had coins in my pocket for the rest of that trip so that I was ready if a similar event came across my path again. And of course it did. Jesus comes to us all each day in some way. May we have our eyes open and our hearts ready to receive him, welcome him, and love him. Cheers, and God be with you. Rangamari e ki koutou.